On the Track is a monthly web TV show about cryptozoology, natural history, green issues, and whatever else the team feel like making up as they go along. Enjoy!
So, what's on today's show, Mr. John?
Well, Hennis, in this week's episode we go back to our conversation with Spooky Viv, Vivien Powell, the Anglo-Indian Fortean researcher. Enjoy.
I really like the old credits.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's John Downs. I'm the director of the Centre for Fortean Zoology. And goodness me, over in the corner, who could that be? It might be the wonderful chanteuse from the Orient, Miss Yoni Egg, who's going to be presenting us with another of her Oriental reinterpretations from the Great British Songbook. This week she's singing So What by the Anti-Nowhere League.
Yeah, pack that in, love.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you who are regular viewers of this show will remember that a couple of weeks ago I explained how my old friend Dave Curtis and I were so confused by the announcement from his daughter, who was about 15 at the time, and a couple of her friends, that their favourite pop singer was actually a computer-generated thing with a squeaky voice called Hatsune Miku or something like that we decided we wanted to get hold of the software and try and get Hatsune Miku, or whatever her name is, to sing songs by the UK subs. And it just developed from there. We didn't manage to get hold of the software, but what we did manage to do is what you've just seen, which amuses us even if it doesn't amuse anyone else. But now on to the show proper. My name's John Downs. I'm the director of the Centre for Fortean Zoology, and this is Lilith, my favourite cat, but don't tell the others that she's my favourite. Lilith Tinkerbell, my little baby cat. And this is Miss Isabel. Say hello to the boys and girls, Miss Isabel.
Hello, everybody.
And I want to say welcome to another episode of On the Track. On the Track is a show which comes out twice a week for half an hour on Saturday afternoons and for about half that on Wednesday evenings. And it is a mixture, a melange, a muddle, I can't think of anything else beginning with M. Lauren, what begins with M?
Manchester, of course.
Thank you, Lauren. I can work with that. I can work with that quite well, in fact, because dear Miss Guinevere, the lady who's going to take over from me when I retire, or drop down dead, or whatever happens to me, is currently filling her little house in Exeter with exotic insects, including mantids, so I think that's a pretty good reason. Also, mantis are great stealth hunters, and just like the CFZ, they sneak up upon you and do strange and peculiar things to you. Wah! That was my impersonation of a praying mantis. So, yes, it is a mantis of a show about hard science, weird shit, and surreality. What's surreality? Well, you're just going to have to ask Miss Isabel. What's surreality, Miss Isabel?
Well, surreality is when you're walking backwards along the moon with your cat.
Well, that makes perfect sense. And now, ladies and gentlemen, enough of this shilly-shallying about, and over for the second part of our conversation with Vivien.
Yeah, so India is quite an amazing place. They have a whole array of interesting wildlife. Nice, some that want to kill you, some that are cute. But yeah, I suppose I'm quite lucky, very lucky, in fact.
When you were a little girl, did you hear about the mythological animals?
Not so much, because I got shielded from that because I was having a problem with seeing ghosts and things that I shouldn't be seeing. They tried to shield me from a lot of things. So not really. I found out about, not in India, but about werewolf when I was in England. And there was a lot of talk about the man that shot the ghost. I heard my grandma talking about that. When it transpired, he didn't shoot a ghost. He actually shot somebody else. It was like a cover up for a murder. But I remember talk of that. I mean, my nan was quite, my English nan, she was quite psychic in herself. I mean, she would read the tea leaves, and my nan had a Ouija board, believe it or not. So she would like get that out with my mum when there was nobody around. My nan had tarot cards. In fact, I have her tarot cards now, and I can read my nan's tarots. But yeah, when it comes to mythological creatures, I know about the serpents. I'd heard about serpents through going to temples and things like that, and I would see them carved on walls or paintings, that sort of thing.
That would be the naga.
Yeah, but they didn't really talk too much about it. I would just see that, and my dad would say, "Oh, look at that snake on there," and just leave it at that. He wouldn't go into stuff.
I was wondering if you'd ever seen any of the Indian
I don't know.
culture.
No. See, in India, it's quite strange. I remember in India talking about the albino peacock. There was a peacock that was just pure. It had the magnificent tail and everything. And I see it with the tail up, and I see it with the tail down, and I hear it, like they do. But I was the only one that ever saw it, which I thought was a bit strange. I mean, there were peacocks that were around, and my dad would say that they were a nuisance and things, but no one ever saw the white one. That was the only strange thing, animal-wise, that I think I'd seen. And I don't know why I would see it and nobody else, or what that would represent. It's just a peacock.
I think, from memory, that the white peacock is, golly, I can't remember which of the goddesses it is. No, I can't remember, but it is the sign of the emperor, and it is the sign of one of the goddesses. I can't remember which one. Because what I know, I don't know that much about Indian mythology. It's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show to talk about it, because it's a subject I don't know anything about.
Well, the thing is, I never really followed. Like my dad is a Sikh, so the Sikh religion. I used to go to the temple with my dad once in a while. I did never understood it. All I know that I'd go there, I'd get this thing called prashad that they'd put in my hand, which is like it's made from semolina tapioca. I don't know what it's made from. It's very sweet anyway, and it was lovely. And they'd give me that, and then we'd have dinner. We'd have actually food in the temple. I'd look forward to that. Never understood what they were saying or going on about. Never followed the Sikh religion. And I was brought up by my mum's Church of England. I never went to church either. So I never really followed that either. But yeah, it was quite a weird upbringing in that respect. And then I found my own way to the Christian spiritualist movement, and I became part of the greater world Christian spiritualists, if you like, for many, many years. And then I changed my religion about 4 years ago.
But I just find the fact that you've had so many different cultural influences on you, I'm wondering how that has affected the way you perceive the stranger side of the universe.
Do you know, well, the one thing that I will never get my head round. Now, people that know me know that I'm a massive fan of Adam Ant, right? Push that aside for 1 minute. I want to talk about the Indian ants, because they are huge. They're about this big.
Yeah.
And they come out, not just one or two, but a whole lot will come out, and they'll swarm all over the floor, and they'll become a nuisance and everything. But these things seem to be, you can't kill them. My nan, God rest her soul, should come out, should put boiling water down there, should put curry powder, chili powder, you name it, she'd chuck it down there. But nothing she put down there would kill them. And I always thought that these ants, I mean, they were just ants as far as she was concerned. I found them absolutely fascinating. Now, you wouldn't want to be bitten by one of these things. They're things that I used to have put in my hands and play with, and they never bit me. But I always used to think, God, if one of them did bite me, what would have happened? The fact that whatever she did, even if you trod on one, it still wouldn't die. What is it with this ant, and especially the Indian ant, where they're so big? They always fascinated me as a child, like how you could never kill an ant. They were too close to the kitchen, which is why my nan would try and get rid of them in her own way, But I will always have fond memories of my nan and ants. Even the frogs. We spoke about frogs a little bit on another show. But the frogs that would come into the house and end up sitting in the bottom of the toilet. Massive things. So when you put the light on as you're going and looking down, you have a nice shock. There's a frog in the house. But yeah, I mean, happy memories, but nothing too weird or wonderful, And I never heard about anything too weird or wonderful either. Either that or they were trying to shelter me from it. I don't know.
So when did your interactions with the weird and the wonderful, that became more in Britain more in England than anywhere?
Yes. Because it wasn't so nice in in England. I mean, I did see somebody who was possessed in India, but I was very quickly, he was there, he was being seen to, and we walked past, I was quickly dragged away, you know. Um, they claim he was possessed. And even out in the Middle East, when I used to go out there with my dad, again, I was shielded from quite a lot. But here in England, what I was seeing was horrific. I'd seen and heard a horse passing by. I've heard a horse in a field gallop right up to me like it was going to run me over. Heard the gallops. I even heard the, you know, the noise the horse makes, and it stopped like it wasn't there anymore. Even though that's animals doing that, it's still pretty frightening. I'd seen the people hanging in the trees was what I found the most disturbing. And my father even having to stop the car and get out to see that it wasn't a suicide, because I was absolutely in a state inside in the car. And then my dad getting quite worried that he's going to have to take me home to my mother in the state that I was in. So he pulled up the car to see what was going on, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing there. Seeing the people's faces, you know, as they're hanging, you know, and they're swaying in the wind, and then the body turning and seeing the face with eyes open looking at you, not a nice thing at all. The house in which we lived, things would move on their own or get thrown, and my mum would think it was me. And so I'd get told off for it until one day she saw a vase move on its own, then quickly collected me and my sister and vacated the house and waited for my dad to come home. We went to my nan's, you know, to get out of the house. But and to me that was an everyday occurrence. I'd even see the hands that were moving the things about, you know. When I look back to all of that, that was horrible. I didn't get a choice. If I had the choice, I would have chosen not to see it. Looking back, that childhood, not from parents' side or the upbringing, it was seeing what I was seeing wasn't nice. I'd change it. I would change it in a heartbeat. People say, you know, the gift of mediumship, it's a gift. No, it's not. Because it wasn't given to me as a gift. To me, it was more like a punishment. Why am I getting this? Why am I seeing this? Why am I being treated differently? Why am I different? You know, there was all that stigmatism that came with it. It was horrible.
Is it the things that happened in your childhood? Did they push you onto the path? No, not push you, is the wrong word, but help influence the path that you've chosen as an
I
adult?
want answers. Yeah, I suppose it does, because now I want answers. Because I believe that when I hear stories of strange and weird animals, strange and weird ghost phenomena, strange and weird UFO. I mean, I'm really not into the UFO thing, but when I hear about it, I think all these things are connected somehow, some way. And I do believe that we're being lied to. And I just want to prove it.
Who's doing the lying?
I don't know. What we're seeing, what we're experiencing, you know, why would my nan come back from the dead to talk to me and give me messages? Why isn't she over there, if there is another life beyond, having fun and getting on with things over there? Why would she need to come back? Is that a lie? You know, I'm questioning everything. I'm not just going to accept it for what it is. I want to find answers. I want to find the answers. Are we being controlled? are we giving this to see certain things to keep us quiet? What is really going on?
I think it's just the way the universe is. But I understand why you feel as you do. I totally understand it.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, that I've been shown some real wonderful things within the animal kingdom, both living and both already deceased. I've seen some really wondrous sights, and I'm grateful for that, but it doesn't make up for all the other stuff that I've seen on the other side of the spectrum. It was quite horrible. So why are you showing me horrible stuff? And then the nice stuff, is that to keep me interested? What is that about? Why give me that horrible stuff? Why not just give me all the good stuff to see? Why? I don't know. It's a very weird conundrum. I'd like to see more of the weirder stuff, the interesting stuff. Doesn't have to be nice necessarily, but more interesting. Like, for example, if there is a werewolf out there. Now, when I say werewolf, I don't mean a man that can turn into a wolf. I mean a particular type of creature that looks like a werewolf that may or may not want to rip my head off. I'd love to see one.
But it looks part human, part a lycanthrope, half human, half
Yeah.
canid.
If there is this amazing thunderbird out there that when it flies, the wings sound like thunder, and it's very revered, and it's a very sacred animal. I'd love to see one. And not just see it for my own, oh, I've seen this. Learn about it. Why is it there? What is it doing there? What does it want? Is it there for a reason? Is there more of them? Where do they come from? How are they surviving? All that sort of thing. There's more to look to it than I just want to see it. Like with the ghost thing, people say to me, "Oh, I don't believe in ghosts. They don't exist. Can I join your ghost hunting team?" I've had that, and this guy joined my ghost hunting team, saw a ghost, saw something up close and personal, went into shock. We had to then concentrate on getting him and his health really. And he'd been on my team for about 18 months wanting to see a ghost. Then when he saw it, went into shock, never went on a ghost hunt again. And I said to him, "Are you coming out on a ghost hunt with this?" "No, I think I'll miss this one out." It was excuse after excuse. We know it's because it terrified him. But we wasn't with him when he saw it. He had his own experience with it. And he's glad he did. He thanked me for that. And he said, "For me, it wasn't very nice, but I'm glad I saw what I saw." And that was something I'll always take with me.
Do you realize, Vivien, we are running out of time and we haven't even talked about the strange animals you've seen? We have just under 4 minutes left.
Okay.
At random, strange animal you see.
I don't know. There's been a few things that I've seen that are quite strange, but I think my most favourite, only purely because it was beautiful and wonderful, was that peacock.
How often do you see it?
I saw it quite a few times when I was over there. I thought it was a pet, like one of the servants was feeding it, which is why it kept coming back. But the servants didn't even see it, so I thought it was a bit strange. But yeah, He was quite a beautiful thing to see.
And how old were you?
At 11, 12 at the time.
That's interesting.
And I have seen, and it's funny, I have seen an albino pheasant here in the fens where I live. And it was a male pheasant and pure white, sitting on a fence. I was driving past, I nearly crashed my car. It was like, what the hell is that? And other people behind me in their cars did exactly the same as me, and we were all, you could see us when we got to we had to stop at traffic lights. I was laughing, the guy behind me was laughing because he'd seen it as well and did exactly the same as me, nearly went up the back of my car. But to see something like that, which is quite rare and quite beautiful, I suppose I'm quite lucky. So I know that my next thing that I would like to go and do, which will happen next year, is to go and see if I can hear, see, or even smell Sasquatch over in Oregon. I'm very interested in that because I have a theory. Is Sasquatch the missing link between ape and man? Does he fit in somewhere? I don't know. I always had that theory in the back of my mind somewhere.
Which is a perfect way to end because we've got just under a minute left. So, Vivien, can we do this again sometime soon? Because we haven't even scratched the surface.
Yes, I'd love to. I'd love to.
Thank you for making time in the middle of your Christmas shopping. And Lilith, yes, you're a lovely little girl. We all love Lilith. Thank you so much for that, my dear. And we'll have you on the show again very soon. And no doubt I'll be on your show before that happens. And we will just carry on doing what we do.
We will.
If you want to support us and help us make more content like these, please press like, subscribe, follow our Facebook page and check out our Patreon.
And as the ghost of Joe Strummer, who's an ever more regular visitor to my little studio, says, don't forget to ring the notification bell, otherwise you'll miss the new episodes. And that would be an awful pity, wouldn't it?
If you've been affected by any of the topics in today's episode, you can just bugger off, because we don't give a monkeys. Bloody well get a grip. Sort your own bloody problems out rather than ringing up somewhere.
That was a public information film.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is about it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe because it helps us fool the algorithm into believing that we are a channel that actually takes what we do seriously. I want to say a big thank you to my guest this week and last week, who's been the lovely Vivien Powell. I want to say a big thank you to my producer Louis, who's still gallivanting around the colonies, behaving like something out of a Truman Capote novel. I want to say thank you to Graham, Deputy Director, and also my carer, who pushes me around in my wheelchair and takes me to hospital and does all the things that I need to do. And I want to say a big thank you to Guinevere, who is the Assistant Director and who does so much for the CFZ. I can't possibly enumerate it all for you. But believe me, without her, we would have packed up by now. So, thank you very much, all of you, and I hope that I will see you all again very soon. Hopefully you're going to be watching next weekend, because if you're watching, and I'm there, doing all the gubbins I normally do on a Saturday afternoon, the live chat and notifications and all that extra stuff, I'll certainly be seeing you.